Thank you everyone for attending today's Exploring Exporting session, focused around the basics of exporting to the United States and the European Union. This comes out of a focus group that we undertook related to COVID recovery and the need for businesses to understand more about what is the basics of exporting. After our wonderful presentation we're about to have, we've also got the Toronto Board of Trade here today to talk about their Trade Accelerator program and the assistance they provide to businesses looking to export. I'd like to introduce Robin DeTosco, Senior Export Advisor, and Rita Packland, Area Director for Aerospace, Defense, and Clean Technologies for Europe with the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation, and Trade. Robin and Rita, I'll turn things over to you. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Becky. Thank you to Simcoe County for having us as well. Thank you to the business community. We're really looking forward to presenting to you today. So I'm going to start off and let me just share my screen. Apologies. I'll try to be nice and quick with this. Let's see here. Okay. So there we go. All righty, so the basics of exporting, I'll cover the US, Rita's gonna cover Europe, so let's get going. So first I wanna just give an overview of our ministry's export growth branch. Rita and I are both part of this branch. So we deliver a suite of programs and services that promote and advance Ontario's economic interests worldwide. We have one-on-one export and market consulting. We host, deliver, partner on, just like we are today, on webinars and workshops. A big part of what we do is doing export business missions. And like every other thing that's happened in the past almost 2 years now, COVID had a massive impact. So much of it went online. We are starting to see maybe in the new year that we will start going back to in-market trade missions. So stay tuned on that one. And then we have programs such as Meet the Buyer, where we bring in large OEMs that you can connect with to try to pitch to be part of their supply chain. So we have partners, we have offices, 16 offices worldwide. We leverage our networks with them, as well as our partners like Global Affairs Canada, EDC, BDC, our communities. So altogether, we work to raise Ontario's profile internationally. This is, if you can take one thing away from this slide, so this is kind of a visual description of what we offer at the ministry. But if you can take one thing away from it, just to the right of the green, get ready, get set, go, you'll see all the way down one-on-one export consulting or market consulting. The big part is we want to hear from you. We want to help you figure out what your export plan is, where you are. We help companies who are just trying to figure out what this exporting thing is and if you actually want to do it and where, to companies who are in multiple markets internationally and are looking to expand their market reach. All right, on to exporting to the US. So to start off, we need to just give a little brief overview about CUSMA. We call it CUSMA, so Canada, United States, Mexico Agreement. If you talk to anybody in the States, it's the USMCA. However, same thing. US remains Canada's largest trading partner, over 330 million consumers. Two-way trade in 2020, even with COVID, where numbers were down, we were looking at, 650 billion, and 73% of Canada's exports in 2020 went to the US. That is starting to go percentage-wise. We used to be upwards of 85% of our exports. So you'll see that has gone down. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that we're diversifying with other markets, but the US still remains our strongest partner. CUSMA was signed in November 2018. It came into force July 1st, 2020. just like NAFTA, it continues to drive trade between Canada and the US and Mexico. But the CUSMA updated a lot of pieces. So the provisions, rules of origin, labor value content, digital trade, NAFTA mentions the telegraph in its writing, nothing about the internet. So CUSMA updates that language and updates it for today's kind of modern business environment. However, there are more protectionist policies benefiting US producers. Just a few Ontario US trade statistics. So, you saw on the page on the slide previously, two-way trade between Canada and the US is about 650 billion. 320 of that is Ontario US import exports. So it represents, about 77% of our exports, total exports go to the US. And about 52% of Ontario's imports come from the US. So incredibly strong partnerships. Some states are our main customers, or we are their main customers. So very, very strong ties. And you'll see on the right-hand side, our top imports and our top exports. Now, that's not to say that there's not opportunities in other sectors that you don't see listed there. There absolutely is. This is just the top percentages. So speaking of opportunities in the US market, so these are the ones that we focus on as a ministry. And again, not to say that there aren't other opportunities, absolutely opportunities in food and beverage, consumer packaging, different products, different natural resources products. As a ministry, these are the ones that we do focus on. So advanced manufacturing, so you can have mobility technologies, aerospace, electronics, landing gears, robotics, engines, even UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles. And then you look over at ICT, a lot of cybersecurity, fintech, IoT, so Internet of Things, telecom and cloud computing, infrastructure and environmental technologies. We do quite a bit of work around water and wastewater, energy storage and smart grid technologies, and green build solutions. And then finally, life sciences and digital health, really. So digital health, telehealth is large, remote patient monitoring, different diagnostics and treatments. These are all the different areas where our ministry focuses our efforts to help bring Ontario companies to the US. Again, not exhaustive. We do go in other areas, but these are the kind of where we've identified the strongest opportunities. These are examples of export business missions, trade missions that we take Ontario companies on. Typically, missions will have between 8 and 20 Ontario companies. You kind of apply to come on board. We will usually have a booth or a pavilion, or depending on the show, our consultant who is responsible for that show may have you just walking the show. We also do B2B networking sessions, so B2B meetings. So we'll have, sessions available for you to identify who at the show, who is your potential client, who is your potential customer, who do you want to speak to? So really, they work hard to get those meetings lined up and get you in front of the people that you want to kind of look at for your potential or your actual sales. So for example, we will be at CES in the new year, but we go to, the water show, WEFTech, Distributech, MedTech, TU Automotive, it runs the gamut, and we are there. How to find out where we're going. We have the trade calendar of events. So this is updated regularly. Right now it's showing what we have on tap until the end of March. Our calendar, our planning year goes April to March. So we're just looking at putting the final touches on our planning for next fiscal. But here you'll see, what's on offer. You can search it by time of the year, sector, market that it's going to, and full contact information of which of my colleagues, which of our consultants are running the session, and you can get in touch with them and see if that event or that activity makes sense for you, and they'll be able to explain all about it. So going back to the US, you know, a lot of what I just covered is how we help or what we do, and that's a big part of it. You know, getting into the US, exporting successfully, there's no secret recipe to it. It takes a lot of market research, doing your due diligence. You know, it's really integral that you figure out the business practices, your tax, your legal, your immigration, customs, warehousing, logistics. It's really, really important to target who your customer is, and that you have an allocation of resources to support these activities. So, you know, are you able to, if you're selling into the States, do you have, you know, your financial avenues all lined up? Are you able to do increased HR? You know, if you have some really big orders, are you able to support those so that your client gets a seamless response, a seamless customer experience? And then, of course, the legal side of things as well. Other best practices, marketing material, you know, customizing your pitch to your potential customers, making sure that what they need is it really shines through what how you pitch your services or your products. And then this is a big one. I'll continue to push this one as much as I can, is leveraging your connections. So hopefully I've stressed hard enough, and if I haven't, we here in the ministry, we're here to help. We want to hear from you. We want to help you kind of through your exporting journey the best that we can. Sometimes it's through referrals, so who we know in market, or sector specific or market specific contacts, and that may be what you need. Or coming on a mission with us, or joining one of our exporter education seminars that kind of give you all of this information, like your market research information. We have experts that we have seminars with that will provide that. But we are here to help our partner ministries. For example, I mentioned, you know, we deal with specific sectors, but, you know, if you're in mining, Northern Development and Mines could help out. Or if you're in food and bev or agri-food, we've got agriculture, food and rural affairs. And if you don't know the people there, that's okay. You can get in touch with Rita or myself. We are here to help, and we're here to connect you with the right people. Global Affairs Canada, or the Trade Commissioner Service, is a fantastic avenue as well. They're your boots on the ground. They know the markets very, very well. We talk to them on a regular basis, especially when we're doing events that pertain to their specific market. And then Export Development Canada. Funding programs, there are a few out there. Global Affairs Canada has Can Export. I know that it's on a funding cycle, so I'm not sure quite where they are right now, when they have funds available, when they cease taking applications. But there are funding programs out there, or potential services that can assist. And the big one, patience and focus. So it's a big market. The US is a large market. So it's being really, really focused on who your client is, you know, not putting yourself too thinly, to make sure that, you know, the customers that you do secure have an excellent customer experience. You know, word of mouth is still king in a lot of places. So, you know, that may be your best path forward. You know, making those excellent first connections, and then moving on from there. And that's really it for me right now. So again, really pleased to have joined you today. I really hope that this was helpful. I know it's very kind of, I didn't get too far into the weeds, but the big part is to, it is kind of individual in some ways, or you really need to connect with the right people depending on your exporting plan and what your targets are. So please do get in touch with us. I have colleagues who focus on the US. I'm happy to connect you with them, or I'm happy to discuss any of my kind of exporter education programs. We have early on preparation programs such as new exporters to border states, where we cover, the taxation bit, or the legal or immigration, or how to get your stuff across the border and into a warehouse so that it can be cross-docked, and all of those kind of pieces that you can really ask the experts. So again, thank you so much for your time. Any questions, get in touch with me, and I will stop sharing my screen, hopefully. Let me see if I can figure this out. And then my colleague, Rita, will take it up. Thank you. Ready to go, Rita, I think.
Yeah. Thank you, Robin. And there we go. Oh. Yeah, I think that's it. All right. So thanks again, Robin, for the great introduction to the U.S. market. My name is Rita Pacman, and like Robin, I am with the Export Growth Branch. I'm among the 14 international market consultants that cover various international markets and sectors. We are divided into two major groups, the Europe and Americas group, and the Asia, Eurasia, Australia, and Africa group. For European markets, we are 3 consultants with the responsibility for the entire region, but for specific industry sectors. I'll provide you with our contact details in the last slide. But in the next couple of slides, I will provide you with some basic information on CETA, its benefits, some general market entry strategies, and some things you need to consider before entering this vast export region. So let's get started. The formal name, Canadian-European Union Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, which is also known as simply the Canadian-European Trade Agreement, or for short, CETA, affords Ontario companies access to the world's second largest export market. It has a consumer base of more than 459 million people. CETA is the most modern trade agreement Canada has put in place, and has set new standards for trade in goods and services, non-tariff barriers, investment, government procurement, and other areas like labor and the environment. CETA covers virtually all sectors and aspects of the Canada-EU trade in order to eliminate and reduce barriers. And this year marks the 5th anniversary of this agreement, which has reduced 98% of the European Union's tariff lines and make them duty-free for Ontario goods and services. CETA benefits Ontario's small and medium-sized exporters by enhancing their ability to participate in and benefit from opportunities created by the agreement in international trade. It does this by creating advantageous conditions for SMEs, by eliminating tariffs on 98% of the current export lines, and enhanced access for service providers, by making trade more predictable, transparent, and accessible, by offering a single set of high standard rules for trade across the European Union, by addressing key challenges and barriers to doing business in the global marketplace, such as technical barriers that disproportionately affect SMEs, by enhancing market access for Ontario services industries, and providing a comprehensive set of investment protection measures backed by a robust mechanism for resolving investment disputes. It also lowers the cost of participating in international trade, including, by establishing new rules that address potential barriers to digital trade and protect the free flow of data across borders. It also simplifies procedures for clearing goods through customs, including making specific commitments to enhance transparency and make informative information available online for SMEs. And of course, it's also very good in promoting fair business practices and creating a level playing field with enforceable rules on state-owned enterprises. Under CETA, as I mentioned before, 98% of the EU tariff lines are duty-free for Ontario goods, including industrial machinery, fabricated metals, ICT products, chemicals and plastics, automobiles, and most processed goods. Companies have improved access to the EU for Ontario services suppliers in areas such as ICT services, architectural engineering services, mining services, environmental services, and other professional services in general. It provides enhanced labor mobility for business-related travel, and it also provides the ability for Ontario companies to bid on procurement contracts at all levels of EU governments. This slide shows you the progression of trade between Ontario and EU countries from 2017 to 2020. 2021 trade numbers are not yet available, but in 2020, Ontario and CETA countries' total trade was valued at almost $37 billion. Oops, sorry. And Ontario's exports totaled $8.2 billion, which represented an increase of 3% over the previous year, despite the negative impacts that the COVID pandemic had on trade. And Ontario's intake or imports from EU countries totaled $28.5 billion, which represented a decrease of 9.3% over the previous years, again, due to the COVID pandemic. Among Ontario's trading partners, CETA countries receive a 4.4% share of the province's total exports. Of course, the United States and Mexico still represent the largest markets for Ontario exports. However, this number has declined over the years. Although the percentage of Ontario exports destined to CETA countries may seem small, we may see an increase in the next 5 years as more exporters explore opportunities and begin to establish partnerships and find clients in EU countries. Here's another interesting stat. There are currently 678 Ontario-owned companies operating in CETA countries, and 809 businesses from CETA countries have a presence in Ontario. This slide gives you a list of the top 10 product categories for Ontario exports going to CETA. As you can see, medications hold a large share, as do precious metals. And then the next slide shows you the intake or the imports, the top 10, I should say, import categories of CETA products destined for Ontario. Again, medications is still up there, as are autos and motor vehicle parts. As I mentioned before, the EU or European Union is the world's largest importer of services, and demand is strong in areas of strength for Ontario businesses, including services such as architectural engineering services, management services, ICT, consulting services. And under CETA, Ontario services supplier can compete on equal footing with EU service providers and receive better treatment than most of their non-EU competitors, all because of CETA. It makes, of course, the trade agreement makes it easier for Ontario professionals to travel and conduct business in the EU. They can attend meetings, negotiate sales, and provide after-sale services. CETA also provides new access to the EU procurement market, which is valued at $3.3 trillion annually, in a broad range of services of interest to Ontario firms, and of course to products as well. So this is not just services, but products as well. So we strongly encourage companies to really look at the EU procurement market, because it is a great way through CETA to be able to compete. And of course, CETA makes goods manufactured by Ontario companies more competitive in the UN market by eliminating the tariffs. So, for example, pre-CETA tariffs on chemicals and plastics were scheduled for up to 6.5%, and under CETA, they are now 0%. ICT products pre-CETA had tariff rates of up to 14%. Now they're at 0, and on and on. There's 98% of the tariff lines have been eliminated and are at 0. So let's skip to the next slide. These are some of the market entry strategies. Of course, the list goes on, but here are some of the important ones. Before you begin your export journey, you should make sure that you have a clear and achievable export objective, know what exporting entails and timelines required to achieve your export goals. Make sure you have a good understanding of what is required to succeed in international markets. Ensure that you have the capacity to support an increase in demand for your products or services, and that's both physical and human. And have the financial resources that may be required to expand your business. There are a few things that you will need to know before you embark on exporting your products to CETA. To the CETA market or European markets. CETA provides clear and simple rules of origin, which Ontario companies can use to determine qualification, whether their products qualify for CETA benefits, as well as access to advanced rulings on rules of origin and tariff classification. Rules of origin determine in which country a product was sourced or made. In other words, its economic nationality. The rules help ensure that customs authorities can apply lower duties, or in the case of CETA, most likely a 0 duty to the product or services that you're trying to export. And to determine the custom duty rate of a good or service, you must first know the classification code, which will be used to export documents. And one of the things that people typically don't know about the EU code system, which is similar to what Canada uses, the 10-digit harmonized system code, is that the first 6 digits are very general. They're practically for almost every country. However, the last 4 digits are what differentiates this HS code destined for a European market. So those 4 digits are unique to the EU, and some research on your part will be required for the European CN code, which is to the 8th digit, and the European tariff code, which is to the 10th digit. So, and this is going to be different for other markets. So that's something that you'll need to be aware of. And then once you obviously know that HS code, it'll make all the paperwork and process a lot smoother. Now, I won't repeat what Robin has already said with regards to best practices and other things that you should consider before exporting, or about the services that we offer, but I will share with you on this slide some of the trade missions we are planning for Europe during our 2022-2023 cycle. As you can see from the slide, we have events happening under the clean tech stream, advanced manufacturing, under the aerospace, defense and security, the automotive, ICT, and life sciences. In addition to these, once we have you on our database or as part of our client base, you'll also be invited to participate on the many incoming trade delegations that come to Ontario. And some of these are, of course, trade driven. So we would invite you to meet with these companies that are looking to buy or source for Ontario products or services. And of course, as Robin said, continue to visit the online trade calendar for updates on these trade missions that we're proposing for 2020, but also on potential incoming missions and other upcoming webinars and seminars that we are planning. And some of these are country specific or region specific. So I might do a webinar on the UK water wastewater market, or on the French aerospace sector. But just look at our calendar, and we populate it as the events are being approved and ready to go. So it's something that you should really get used to checking on a continual basis. And finally, as promised, I wanted to provide you with the names and contacts of the three people that cover the European market. My colleagues, Patrick and Philip, as you'll see, they're responsible for certain sectors. And myself, I do aerospace, defense, clean tech, and infrastructure. So please connect with us directly. We would be pleased to help you to explore export opportunities in the European Union market, and how we can take and how you can take advantage of CETA. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin and Rita, for all that great information. I had no idea that the old NAFTA had telegraph in there. That just made me have a good giggle. And also I was actually amazed that 14% tariffs on previous ICT works. Like, to see those discounts, that's a wonderful thing for some of our local businesses. I'm now going to turn things over to Tony Jabor. He's the Industry Relations Coordinator with the Toronto Board of Trade, to speak about the Trade Accelerator Program that may be of interest to some of your businesses. I don't want to take all of his steam, so I'm going to turn things over to Tony to explain about his program.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Jessica. So thank you all for joining us today, and thank you for your time. I'll be sharing my screen for a quick presentation about the Trade Accelerator Program. Okay. So Trade Accelerator Program, or we call it TAP. So this program has been created by the Toronto Region Board of Trade and its trade arm, the World Trade Center Toronto. So this program was created 6 years ago. Last week, we had our 6-year anniversary. And this program was created because there's a lot of resources available here in Canada to support companies that are looking to export and enter the international market. But the different resources are scattered all over the place. So TAP is the only program that combines different resources in one program, and we're going to be introducing all the resources and connecting you with the experts that are going to be available with us. In addition to that, we'll also be helping you build an export strategy or an export plan. This is important to use internally and externally for your company. And it's a good document to have with you if you're going to try to acquire any additional financing, or are going to apply to any grants that is available by the government. If you compare Canada to different countries around the world, the past 18 years, Canada increased its exports by 60%, compared to the US 200%, Russia around 400%, and then India 800%, and China 1,200%. So there is still a lot of room for us to grow. And Canada got trade agreements with different countries around the world. And it's really good to make the best use of all the resources available here. So we tried to create this program. In the virtual format, it's going to be 7 sessions over 5 weeks. Each session is going to be around 3.5 hours. We're going to cover specific topics related to international trade and exporting. After each session, you're going to start building part of your export plan. We're going to be giving you all different resources, previous export plans that you can use. And we're going to be also including forms that can help you start building your export plan. After these 7 sessions, you're going to have some time to finalize your export plan. And then you're going to be sitting with the mentors available, and they're going to give you feedback on your export plan. So it's going to be 30 minutes one-on-one with each mentor. There's going to be around 8 to 10 mentors available with us in the program, and they'll be giving you feedback and covering specific topics just to make sure if you missed anything, if you can improve your export plan. Their feedback is really important because they worked with hundreds of companies previously over the years, and they want to make sure that your export plan is solid and that you can use it to enter a specific market. We're going to have with us, and our national sponsors are Export Development Canada, EDC, Business Development Bank of Canada, BDC, RBC, Royal Bank of Canada. In addition to that, we're going to have the Ministry of MAJCET, so Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Trade Commissioner Services. We're also going to have freight forwarding services and lawyers and accountants. So everything that you need when it comes to exporting. As I said, we'll be covering each topic. And what you can take from this program are 3 things. First of all, your export plan. And it's really important if you're going to try to get any additional funding or financing. When you have your export plan ready, it becomes easier to apply for any grants. In addition to that, connections is the most important part. You're going to be able to connect with the ecosystem when it comes to international trade. They're going to get to know your business. You're going to get to know them, learn about different resources, how they can help you. You don't have to start exporting or enter a new market by yourself. There's a lot of resources. It can save you a lot of time. It can help you cut costs. In addition to that, it can protect you when you're going internationally. So why not use the different resources available? You're going to be able to connect with the experts after the program. You're going to be able to work with them. And it's really a great opportunity for you to be able to have an idea on the market that you're going to enter. In addition to that, be able to connect with all the experts. The third thing is different resources. So building the connections, building your export plan, and then learning more about the different resources available. There's a lot of government resources. The experts that are going to be available with us, they're going to share about different resources that can help you out. So it's really good to have, to learn about the ecosystem when it comes to international trade. So some statistics that I'm going to be sharing about TAP. So first of all, more than 50% of companies that are joining us are represented by underrepresented groups. So it's a safe space for anyone that would like to learn more about international trade. We welcome everyone to take part of this program. Jobs created and maintained. We focus on jobs created and maintained. So it's 4.2 jobs per company, especially after COVID. I met with a company earlier today, and he was telling me this is really important to me because I didn't want to let go any of my employees during COVID. So I do understand a lot of companies might maybe went through a difficult phase or a difficult time throughout COVID, but we're looking forward to after COVID, and we're looking forward to grow your businesses and help you to make the best use of the rebounding economy that is going to take place. Compared to the Ontario average annual salary, so the Ontario average annual salary is around 52K. Jobs that are created by companies that are graduating from the program is around 70K per job. So the third part is the increase in revenue and increase in export revenue. So increase in total revenue is around 18%, and the increase in total export, average export revenue per year is around 18%. If you compare this with pre-COVID, the number was around, increase in export revenue was around 34%. So yes, COVID did play had an impact and play a role in this, but the companies that did join us were able to still grow throughout the pandemic, which is an extremely positive thing. Also, we do accept companies that are already exporting to a specific market, but they're looking to enter a new market, or they don't have any experience with exporting. They want to learn more about exporting. They want to meet the experts, the ecosystem, learn more about it, and then they're going to start exporting. So 37% of companies, they started exporting after TAP. They didn't have any experience. And after graduating from TAP, they were able to start exporting. As I said, part of the companies that do join us, maybe they had demand from one specific market. Maybe they exported once or twice, but they're looking to have a solid export plan. They're looking to enter the market in a more strategic way. They found out that they can do business in that market. There's a lot of demand, and they want to make sure that they're making the best use of their work in that market. So connecting with different experts is always really important, and building the export plan can help you connect with the experts. They can learn more about your work, what you're doing, what are your plans when you enter that market, and that makes it much easier for even the experts to be able to help you out. So financing. So around 50% of companies that are joining us, 47%, did manage to get additional financing after graduating from TAP. On average, $1.1 million per company. We'll be introducing different grants and financing options, funding resources. We'll be letting you know, okay, these are the resources that are available, and we'll introduce you to them. And 50% of companies after graduating from TAP applied to different resources and were successful in getting additional financing. So companies that we accept in TAP. So the annual gross revenue that we're looking for is around 500,000 annual gross revenue. We do accept companies below the 500K. It really depends on the value proposition. It depends on what your plans are for the future. What I ask for is for you, if you're interested in this program, you can go on our website and apply for TAP. Even if you're below the 500K annual gross revenue, a program manager will meet with you and understand better about your business. And there's a possibility that we're going to be able to accept you to the program. In regards to commitment, so we do ask for 2 participants to join from each company, preferably 1 senior executive, or if 2 senior executives are able to join, that would be even better. We ask for you to complete a written export plan within the given time frame. We do follow up with you after the program, just to make sure that if you do need any additional support after graduating, we're able to connect you with different resources that can help you out if you're facing a specific challenge in your business when it comes to exporting, and just for us to understand how you're doing and to be able to understand better if TAP did help you after you graduated. Other than that, we might ask you for an authorization to use you as a success story or your image, but we do welcome any companies to be able that are looking to export to join our program. It's a great program to help any company in Ontario and across Canada as well. As I said, we're in over 25 cities as well across Canada. We first started in Toronto, but now we're in different provinces and we have different partners that we're working with. So if you think that this is something that can benefit you, you're welcome to join us. And that's it from my side, Becky.
Thank you, Tony. Our office recommends this program. It's a great program that provides you the necessary tools you need to be able to expand and export. The program is actually being offered locally out of the Sandbox Center in Barrie, so you can visit their website for more details or the link that Tony provided. I'd like to thank all the speakers for participating today. If anyone has a question or wants to get connected to any of our speakers, please feel free to email edo@simcoe.ca. We'll happily connect you with anyone, and our office is always here to assist you with any issues you may have. Thank you for attending. Bye.
Thank you, Becky.